Hello, and welcome to ZEPHON. This is a post-apocalyptic 4X strategy game, turn-based strategy game. And I had a request to give the Furtive Tribunal a run, and it's my favorite faction from the base factions, and I think of all the DLC. I haven't actually played all the DLC factions, but I do really like them, so I'm happy to do it. Now, before we get into it, people did comment on one of my previous videos that they appreciated me doing this, so I'll just do it again. Cliff highlights. Turn that on. If you're a new player, this will make your life a lot easier when it comes to the battlefield. Attack area and grid you can play around with as well, but cliff highlights, in my opinion, is critical. You're going to need that. Alright, so, new game. We will be playing as the Furtive Tribunal. I have set myself one opponent of each of the three affinities, so the infinite count here is voice, syncretic diva is going to be cyber, and then the imperious exonaut is human. Of course, Furtive Tribunal is also voice. These are all DLC leaders that I haven't played, so that'll be fun. We won't know what they do. I'm not going to look it up. We'll just play and see how it goes. I don't think I've even played the game since these two were added, so this is going to be a little bit new for me. But it should be fine. Alright, so let's go over the settings real quick before I start. Everything is pretty standard. Difficulty, I will be playing on Ultra Hard. Now, my previous playthroughs I did do on Nightmare. I can beat the game on Nightmare, but I'd say I have about a 50-50 win rate on it. But the bigger issue with Nightmare is, like, I don't mind losing on camera. I just don't enjoy playing on Nightmare because of how much of a slog the endgame gets with all the bonuses that the enemies get with their unit production and all that. The plus 100 loyalty there. Every point of loyalty is effectively a 1% production bonus, including it's like all resources and also build time. And then on top of that, they've also got, you know, extra levels on all their units. So even on Ultra Hard, it's still going to be 60%. When I started playing this game, I just beat a difficulty and then I would move on to the next difficulty. So recommend after beating hard, recommend after beating very hard. But then Nightmare says not recommended, and I'm gonna go back to Ultra Hard and see, because honestly, I really enjoyed the game when I was learning it, but playing on Nightmare, I started enjoying the game a little bit less. So hopefully on Ultra Hard they won't be too much of a pushover, but we'll just have to see. But yeah, medium. Aside from that, advanced parameters. Everything here is pretty standard. I believe victory requires defeating NPCs is off by default. I did turn that on. So this forces me to interact with Anchorite, Chiefess, and ZEPHON. So effectively it's almost like a 7-player map. Although these NPC factions do have slightly different rules. But everything else will be pretty standard here. There's my world seed if anybody wants to. Let's just randomize that once. Alright, so that's the world seed that I'll be playing on if anybody wants to copy this this map for whatever reason. Density parameters. These are just medium across the board. Yeah, I don't really need to show that, but they're all medium. I did notice wildlife density. I did have on very low. I'm not sure if that was a setting that I changed or if that's how it was by default, but I assume I had changed it at one point. I'm putting it back onto medium, so there might be a lot more neutrals than in my previous playthroughs. We'll see. I just kind of wanted to do like a default settings run, and I'm assuming that that was the default. Mutators. These are things that you can unlock after beating the game. Every time you beat the game, you have the opportunity to unlock one of them, and they do various things, doubling loyalty effects. So on Nightmare, the enemies would have 200% production bonus instead of 100. Amazing. You know, purchasing units from NPCs is cheaper, etc., etc. I don't actually use any of these. Some of them do look interesting. I might, at some point, do a special run where you have special rules in place, because some of them can really change things. The only one that I've ever actually experimented with is What Are You? You can only research technologies with your affinity and no affinity. Right, so the neutral ones and, in our case, the voice ones. No cyber or human tech. I'm still going to play as though I have this enabled, but I'm not going to enable it. The reason for that is that in the tech tree, I will have the ability to look at the other technologies. Just in case something happens and I want to talk about something. As far as I know, the AI will always play as though this is on, regardless of whether you've activated it. So you will not be seeing, human tank units out of the voice enemy, for example. And then DLC, this is all that's out at the moment, and I have it all. Oh, 5 minutes. I got through that intro a lot faster than usual.
We were
I
not
usually
ready
yap a
for
lot more
their
than that.
divine judgment.
Okay.
We were tested.
So,
and
post-apocalyptic
almost
setting, I'm going to skip the intro this time. But yes, the world, in summary, the world, we got invaded by aliens. This is set on Earth. We got invaded by aliens. And we also had a AI robot rebellion happen around the same time. And fortunately for us, the AI robots, the AI robot faction, which is ZEPHON, and the aliens, which are the Anchorite, they ended up sort of destroying each other. They both still exist, but they are far weaker than they used to be. They did a lot of damage to each other, and so us puny humans were kind of able to survive in that environment. But then a bunch of people started turning to some interdimensional horror, cosmic horror cult thing, which is the voice. And so we kind of have like 3 doomsday scenarios going on at once here: alien invasion, robot rebellion, and cosmic horror. And we are aligned with cosmic horror, so that should be fun. That is what the voice is. Okay, so first things first. We want to settle a city. If I go Control Y, Y for yield, this will show the value of the various tiles. Now, if you're used to playing games like Civilization, you're going to be used to, you settle somewhere and you have access to all of the tiles around it. In this game, it's not quite like that, but it's similar. We are going to be able to use the various benefits, but we build buildings on a tile. So if I build a greenhouse for food, for example, I will get 10% extra food if I build it here, whereas if I build it here, I don't get anything, any bonus. So we kind of want... It's more important to have like a diversity of things, like having tiles that don't have high values on them, or values that we care about, isn't the worst thing, because we're going to be building housing and things like that. So like if I don't care about minerals, which I don't because I'm playing voice, or chips, I really don't care about that. That's only for cyber. I can just build like housing there and it'll be fine. Like it's okay. This top number here, the 2, the 3, the 0, that's how many building locations there are on that tile. Okay, anything else I want to talk about before I start settling? Yes, these outposts. They provide unique benefits. This one is influence and research. Oh, that's why I got through my intro so fast. I didn't talk about what my faction does. Okay, well, we'll get into that before I continue here. I'll finish what I'm doing and then I'll go into that. Right, because influence and research matters for us. So actually, this is a pretty good start, honestly. Yes, this will provide extra influence and research when it's built in the city, and if we settle onto it. So we don't get the building sites. We can't actually build like a greenhouse or anything on this, but we do get the benefits for having it in the city regardless. Early on, you have your city starting location and then all adjacent tiles, and that's it. You have to actually research technology, and it takes a good amount of time before you get to the technology to research to increase to another ring of available space. And so, like, I guess the final thing I want to talk about then is that these outposts also provide bonuses adjacent to them. So you can see that all of the tiles next to this watchtower have the 10% influence and 10% science bonus. Unfortunately, none of these tiles had influence or science by default, so it's not like it's a huge thing, but those are pretty rare bonuses anyway. In fact, I think you can only get those from outposts, so it would be more meaningful if we had like a plus food. For example, like this one, you can see there's a little bit of gray here. There's an outpost up here, and this is a wasteland forest. Do I have another wasteland forest I can compare it to? Not necessarily. We know wasteland by default is 20% algae, which is the red stuff. The forest, I think, is going to be 10% mineral, 10% food, maybe? Maybe not. I could actually just look that up. What is a forest? 10% mineral. Okay, there we go. -1 building spot. All right, so we know that this 20% food is actually coming from this structure. So this is a food-based structure here, which is pretty nice. We want to grab that for sure. And then, yeah, these outposts, even if you haven't built next to them, you can still flag them, which is then, it's kind of like, I guess, Heroes of Might and Magic rules. In that sense, you flag it with a unit, and then it's just yours until somebody else flags it. And that'll just produce the resources every turn. So this would be influence and research every turn regardless, even if we haven't built next to it. However, if you have a settlement right next to it, or if you build certain structures like the human bunker, it makes it so that you can't take control of the outpost until you've destroyed the building that's adjacent to it. So you can get extra control that way. So I mean, we're definitely going to grab this. As far as other things to mention here, algae, which is the red stuff, and these gray chips, those are unique resources. So if you're playing a human leader, you're not going to care about either of those. If you're playing a voice leader like us, you're going to want algae, and if you're playing a cyber leader, you're going to want the chips. So out here, we have construct terrain. This provides chip bonuses. This is actually not useful for us at all. However, the wasteland provides algae. This is good for us. Desert, this is going to be energy. That's actually also pretty good for us. So yeah, we're probably just going to be settling here. So before I get into anything else, compendium, if I go leaders, Furtive Tribunal, let's just read what we do. We are voice affinity. This is standard. Every leader is going to have one of the 3 affinities. In our case, the units you get are unique though. We start with 2 Abkluth Dragoons, 1 Abkluth, and 1 Engineer. Engineer is what builds our cities. That's standard. The other things are going to be unique. We get easier, cheaper access to voice technology. I'll show that. I'll talk about that when we get into the tech tree. Dark Omen. Within, I think it's 6 tiles of our cities, we can just see enemies. So if you're in cover, if you're in the fog of war, it doesn't matter. We can still see you. And we also get bonuses to attacking things that are within our Dark Omen range. So pretty good defensive bonus, helps early game. Whispers of the Voice. We have a special unique ability on our leader where we can spend influence to gain research. And so that's why influence and research are kind of important stats to be aware of for our faction, because we are doing weird things with that. Because our faction's disadvantage, every faction gets 1, and for us, we believe that spiritual apprehension precedes intellect. Research laboratories have decreased output. That's right, we don't believe in science. We believe in whatever the voice is telling us, I guess. So we will be going for an influence strategy instead of a research strategy. I probably won't even research the tech to get research labs, because I'm just going to try to not do it. We'll see how that goes. And then our elite ability, probably our strongest thing. This is a powerful ability that you can spend influence on. In our case, we get an avatar of the love and wrath of the voice, which is a summoning ability, which just gives us a powerful unit. Also, lore. I do like the lore in this game. I'll be reading some of it. I won't be reading this. But yeah, everything has lore. Like even the forests, like your tiles, roads, water, whatever, everything will have lore associated with it. It's actually pretty well done. I do like it. Okay, so as far as our city stuff goes, okay, one other thing to mention here. Some of these tiles have this pink, like weird fungal tentacle growth stuff. That is bleed. You can't build on it. You can clear it, it just takes time to clear. And it does slow your movement and damage you every turn if you try to walk through it. So that's not great. However, the Abkluth, and also the Abkluth Dragoon, has the Bleed Walker ability. This is our basic infantry unit for this for voice. We do not have damage or movement penalty in bleed, and in fact we heal every turn that we end in bleed. So not great for building, at least not early on, but it is a tactical benefit to us because we can hide out in it and still get certain bonuses. So before we build, I am going to move all of my units. I'll turn that off for now. So let's go this way. With speed I go. We found a flesh tree. Alright, this is just going to give us food every turn and generates meat harvests. This is a very good outpost. So this honestly looks like a very good start. Because this gives us growth in cities. And I said I wasn't going to do it, but let's read the lore on this thing. I nearly walked away the day we decided to use these as a food source, but one smart logistics officer pinned me down with the math. If we camped by one of these trees, we could feed our people for a month. I asked them not to tell me if it turned out to be human meat. So, yeah. Nice happy setting of this game. Okay, this is our Abgluth. This thing is honestly pretty useless. It regenerates and it does stuff. I'm going to run down this way, just for a little bit of exploration. So engineer, I'm probably just going to build on site. I don't normally do that. Let's just grab the cash, see what we get. A militants unit, okay.
Nothing to lose but my chains.
Basic human infantry unit. There's another outpost out here, which is producing... Wait. Another 20%? Is this another flesh tree? You can kind of see it in the fog. It does look tree-like. Oh, wow. Okay. Alright, so one other thing I should have talked about before I started doing all my movement. One of my favorite things about ZEPHON is the way movement works. If you're used to playing other games that are similar to this, you'll see that you have 4 movement, you make a move, and then you can continue to move. Right? We would use 1 or 2 movement probably to get into the ruins. I think that's just 1 movement to go here. I should actually know that. And again, I can actually, whoops, I can just look this up. Ruins, where is it? +1 movement cost for large and non-agile ground units. Okay. We are an agile unit, so in our case, it wouldn't matter. So 1 movement for us, but this would have been 2. Like for the human militant, for example, it would be 2 movement to go in here. So 1 movement, but we spent all 4 because we do a move and we have to commit to it. So if I wanted to, explore out here, I can't just move a little bit and see if there are any enemies. I have to commit to moving all the way to here. And that gets me more vision, but it also opens me up to enemy overwatch attacks and the like, which is pretty bad. So I do like that you really have to commit, and likewise, if you attack, your unit's done. You're not moving after attacking. So, Control Y again. We have a bunch of open wasteland tiles, which have a lot of building opportunity, and we do get this bonus right away. We are getting the bonus mineral. We're getting a bunch of bonus resources on the tile. We're just gonna build in this location. Okay, it recommends down there. That's going towards cyber. I don't want to do it. I want to build here.
Let's build something great here.
Yes. All right. So this tile did only have 2 because it had rocks on it. So we don't have a 3rd building site, unfortunately. But we do get our bonus resources, which does matter because our headquarters produces a little bit of everything. So you can see we're actually getting 7.5 minerals a turn instead of 6. Likewise, we're 6.9 on the research and influence instead of 6. So our headquarters gets to be a little bit better just being in this location. Also, we automatically claimed this because it was adjacent to our city. Nobody else can claim that as long as we have this city. Excellent. So, wait. Okay, that's new. They've updated this, so you can clear and actually remove the rocks. So I could spend 2 turns clearing this to get rid of the rocks, which would give me, I think, less minerals, but more another building site. I don't really care about minerals, but I do like having plus minerals on my headquarters just because I'm not planning on building any mines to build minerals, so I just want to have that be as good as it can be. Anyway, we need more locations for placing more structures. So I'm going to start by just going out here because this has 3 slots on it. And then we will build our Midnight Course, which is our barracks, out in that area. This does produce 1 algae a turn, so this will be 1.2 algae. Something. It's not a terrible start, honestly. Also, because we placed a city, we can now see all of these enemies that exist within 6 tiles. So, good to know. And they all have lore as well. Okay, research. So yeah, I could turn on human and cyber if I wanted to, and that would get us, barracks, cryofabricator, synthetic printer. Because we aren't those factions, we only have the super basic stuff at tier 1. It's not until tier 2 where we would get what would normally be tier 1 techs if we were playing as those. So that's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, so if you wanted to research voice stuff as a different leader, these would mostly be tier 2. I think these would all be tier 2, actually. The Midnight Chorus that we started with, and the that would be our tier 1 research. All right, shared vision. This is a boost for our Dark Omen. So in the way the tech tree works, tier 1, this is for our leader. Every leader is going to have a unique tech at each tier. In our case, we get to do more damage to stuff within 6 tiles of our cities. Pretty nice. You need to research 3 technologies from one tier before getting on to the following tier. And you pretty much just want a beeline for engineers, because this is going to be what allows you to build new cities, as well as construction yards, which is what... you can see this has a cost of 36 gears. That is production time, right? So it would take one construction yard, because it produces 6 gears. It would take 6 turns for a construction yard to build another construction yard. However, once you have a construction yard built, it's giving you more production on everything else that you do in your city. We'd effectively double the time. Essentially, we go from 6 to 12 production speed in our cities if we build one of these, because we start with 1 in every city. So doubling the speed at which we build buildings is pretty useful. So the idea is basically we're going to beeline for tier 3 to get engineers and construction yard, probably in the other order. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. But to get to a tier, you have to research 3 things from the previous tier. So we're going to do 3 things from tier 1, 3 things from tier 2, go to tier 3, and then we'll go back and get some of the more useful things that we skipped. For now, the strategy I want to go for is the Abkluth Dragoons. I want to spam those out. So I'm going to start by getting Toxic Spearhead to make them more powerful against biological enemies. This will be useful against basically anything that isn't ZEPHON. So I'm hoping that we do not spawn next to ZEPHON. Basically. Specimen Containment could be useful early on as well. Research for killing neutral units. Research Labs, like I said, we're not going to get. But this is a thing you could do early on. We'll be going for the admin complex instead, because we'll be using influence to get research. Other thing that's worth noting, the Whisper of Goldrock is our hero unit. We have 1 at tier 1. We also have the Elect of Usodai at tier 2. We definitely want both of those. The thing about the heroes, though, is that getting a hero makes all future heroes more expensive. The tier 2 hero is also more expensive by default. So if we get this hero first, the increase in cost to this hero will be less than if we do it the other way. So effectively, we save some resources if you get the Elective Uzodai first. It doesn't mean you don't need to research them in that order, but it is just a consideration. I'm not going to get this unless I desperately need this unit in particular. The advantage of the Whisper of Goldrock is that it does have range attacks, so if we're dealing with flying enemies, for example, this is far more useful than this hero, which is a melee hero. And again, ZEPHON is the biggest cause of flying units. Like, we really don't want to be against ZEPHON, because ZEPHON is mechanical and has flying units, and we're wanting to do a melee poison strat. That's what I want to do. So yeah, ZEPHON is a huge pain in the butt. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. Alright, 25 minutes and I'm still on turn 1. This is more what I was expecting, but I think that's all the yapping I wanted to do. Time to actually start playing the game.
We fight as one.
Okay, Shallow Foundations. This is the start of our faction-specific quest, I believe, or at least a little bit of lore before we get to the quest. One set of eyes watches the builders, setting up your first city. Your past-facing eyes look to the outside, to the machines, aliens, and horrors. And the third looks to the future, to the stars. You, 3 in 1, know that you are more than you are out there. Know that there are more like you out there. Know that the voice you heard, prophesizing in your isolation, is a shared mind. You realize the gate guards are waiting for your signal. You shake yourselves. Focus all your eyes on the present, on bringing humanity to the end of time. Okay, they grabbed that. That's unfortunate. The Outrider is not very strong, though.
Ready for the hunt.
Okay, you're a melee unit. Cannot overwatch.
Mind the tail.
Okay, I think we're going to move here.
I've got the scent.
Oh, another structure out that way? Wait, is that another outpost? It looks like research and influence. Okay, so 2 out of 7 casualties.
They won't. We fight as one.
Casualties. So this has 7 models. It does less damage the more of them you kill. So move next to it. So that's already significantly weaker. It did say unleash. These neutrals are not hostile by default. Okay, how do I want to deal with you? There's the bike up there to be careful about as well. If I go here, the thing is you're pretty weak.
Ready for the hunt.
We'll go here.
Yeah.
Okay, so this has a range attack. It does get to Overwatch. However, we were in a forest, which gave us cover. We're also only 3 units in our group size, so they did not take out a third of our health, which means we're still doing full damage with this stack. This thing only has a single model, so we don't actually get to damage it over time. However, if you take a group size of 1 enemy, if you take it to half health or less, it becomes damaged and gets significantly less effective. So there is still a trade-off there. This thing is mechanical, so we will not be poisoning it, but... yeah, this thing's pretty weak. I mean, our militant is pretty... The human soldier, for one thing, we got the unit at half strength, so it would need to heal up to get it to full strength. The other thing is that they actually do more damage at close range. Because it's range 2, but at range 1 they do double the damage. So, yeah, okay, it's going to counterattack there. Oh, that's really bad, actually. Okay, we actually can't win this. The Dark Vassal. That's a tanky unit, and it also does morale damage.
We fight
So you can
as
see we're
one.
now shaken. Because our morale has been damaged. That's the right side. As much as I want this, I'm going to have to retreat for now.
Ready for the hunt.
We can do this, though.
Speed I go.
You hate Ultimate Gamer. That's a guy on my friends list on Steam. This game does do that. There's a little bit of a horror vibe to it. Well, Ultimate Gamer, if you're watching this, I hate you. That's just deep down. I've always felt this way. It's a weird thing that this game does. It's a little bit invasive, I suppose, from a streamer or Let's Play perspective. I don't actually care. It's fine. It's whatever. But you will see certain messages that are doing things like that. This is a cliff. As you can see, it's not that easy. I guess that's what this is. It's not that easy to see. Well, actually, no, this isn't a cliff because... oh, maybe it's because I don't have this explored. But yeah, this just makes it way more obvious that a land unit cannot move from here to here. So it is worth having that enabled. Anyway, we did our move. Yes, they did 5 damage to the or 7 damage to the Abgluth actually, because we healed for 2 every turn. So yeah, even damaged, it still took out over half of our Abklooth unit in one hit. Anyway, this is unfortunate. So we'll retreat. Let's go to the bleed, because you do heal on bleed.
No such thing as safe anymore.
And for you, we'll go in the structure. Which gives us more vision. I'm surprised, actually. I didn't have that by default. Because I thought I'd captured it, but apparently we did get more vision out of it. Okay, we have built. Obviously, Midnight Chorus, we need to start getting units. And yeah, that'll take 6 turns. Because all of these things. 24, that's 4 turns to build, 6 turns to build, 2 turns to clear a tile, 2 turns to claim a tile. Really? I got that in 1 turn. I guess there's carryover. Oh, I was wrong, sorry. Headquarters provides double as well, so... Actually, it's not doubling our production to get a construction yard, it's a 50% bonus, which is still pretty good, but we have 12 by default. Okay. Nope, ignore everything. I was right the first time. The headquarters production is only for production tasks here. Construction yard, this production is for tasks here. So if I want these to be faster, I need a second construction yard. I'm not sure why this built in 1 turn. Maybe the turn that we built the city, we had 6 overflow. And then we ended turn and got another 6, maybe. Because I'll assume this will go down to 5. We can check that.
Ready for the hunt.
Okay, rallied, got your morale back. Yeah, 5, okay. So you might just get a double production on the first turn. Deformities discovered, okay. Cool. That's something we can fight. Those things are pretty weak, honestly.
This isn't the world I knew.
Alright, we'll heal for 5 turns.
Keeps us alive.
Heal for 1 turn. Let's grab the stash. Oh, we got a Dark Vassal of our own. That's really nice. And you... I think this is a structure, so let's grab the bleed tile. Another Dark Vassal. Hopefully it runs off. It is biological, at least. How about this thing? Is this purely mechanical? It is biological. It has a rider. Okay. Yeah. So our Toxic Spearhead comes in, and this is the only unit that isn't going to be negatively affected by it, which is fine. As you can see here, Whispers of the Voice, this is our unique ability. We can spend 80 influence to get 40 research. Which isn't a great trade-off, but it's how we'll be doing things. We can make that cheaper with technology. Dragoons would drag their spears through the vile waste the Abklooth left behind after defecating. The tips of their weapons would then be coated in some of the most vile and dangerous substances ever exposed to human skin. Alright, biological warfare it is. Okay, so... We could just get more algae every turn, that wouldn't be bad. I do think this will get us some research early on. That's probably a pretty good thing to build, because it'll just make everything else good. Shared vision would be pretty nice, or honestly, early on as well. So I'm kind of thinking that might be our 3 techs. You guys are just dying over time. Which is kind of funny. You're possibly the weakest unit in the game. But if you do kill a biological unit, you create another deformity out of it. So that's kind of fun. Okay, our city grew. City growth on its own doesn't actually do anything. However, this will be a new structure. So you can see we have 2 population. Headquarters works for free, but the construction yard requires 1 person to work it. So that's what we're doing. So this Midnight Chorus will be worked by the population. You get a penalty if you have more structures than you do people, so that's something to keep in mind as well.
We fight as one.
Okay, you are full health. Melee cannot overwatch. You are not a bleed walker. You are just a monstrosity. Yeah, you are damaged. So 6 turns to fully heal. We're always gonna heal though. Could grab that.
Mind the tail. Ready for the hunt.
Grab that. Extra science and influence every turn is pretty nice. Yeah, and Cliff. Yes, you can see Cliff going into the water here, which does matter. You are full health, so I should be using you to do stuff. However, I don't want to rush ahead without anybody else. We're waiting a couple of turns on healing. So let's just explore.
With speed I go.
Okay, you can run up this way. A missile team here. This has a range of 3.
We fight as one.
We were in cover. How does it show? Because we're in a ruin or a forest, we were in cover, and we're not adjacent to them, so I think they couldn't see us. That's why they didn't get the overwatch. This is really bad. Okay, I was hoping to grab that, but...
Mind the tail.
oh, we've got Abgluths out here. I don't know if I've ever actually used this, but we do have the Tame Abgluth ability on this thing. So...
Yeah, yeah. The beast's teeth will be our blades.
grab a free
Ready
unit.
for the hunt.
You cannot get away because moving adjacent to an enemy causes problems. You haven't been aggroed necessarily. You have been. I really want that flesh tree. I kind of wanted to kill those guys, but...
Ain't no such thing as safe anymore.
Increased healing rate.
Mind the tail.
What do I do? If I go into here, you've got a minigun range
We
2.
fight as one.
I would rather lose you, honestly. Okay, we'll unleash
Ready
these
for the
2. So these are the same. These are the same spawn. So attacking one of them aggroed all of them. This is a different spawn. So if we move here, because this is ruins, it should block its line of sight.
I've got the scent.
Good, it didn't shoot at me.
The beast hungers.
We killed a model and we poisoned it.
I'm not dying today.
You're over half health. I just need more units. I want to heal, but I need support. And if I get you down here, I can get another Abgluth unit as well. Okay, I probably just lost this one though. No? Okay. The Abgluth, I mean, it does have regeneration, so as long as they don't die, they are... they recover quickly. So they're actually fairly useful as early game scouts. So we're probably going to run away, honestly. Dark Vessel. So we could kill it. Could kill it with you, but that would be sacrificing 1 for 1.
Mind the tail. Yeah.
Actually, we could do this. Got rallied, we got some morale back. We're still gonna run away with you. Because I prefer not to lose a unit if I don't have to. But I finished off the weak one, which is good because that means I can do poison to the one that's stronger. Okay, the absolute is still around there. Okay, they did damage me. That's fine. This thing's not gonna die. This thing is pretty sturdy. And also it doesn't do very much damage, honestly. The main thing about it that's nice is that it does the horrifying. Okay, so I noticed that they're not poisoned anymore. So horrifying, it does mean... there's no penalty for... You're agile? No penalty for moving and shooting. Okay, we did hurt their morale. This makes them take more damage. I'm gonna move forward. Okay, poisoned for a turn. So this stacks. But I think I need multiple units attacking at the same time for that. Okay, so if I can do this, I will kill one of you. Which didn't hurt the morale as much as I was hoping. Alright, we're gonna take you out. You are gonna die from the poison now. I hope I still get experience for that. I mean, you do regenerate, so you know what? Let's just guarantee that we get the experience. Oh. Or I could have looked at the preview and seen. They'll be fine. Oh. Maybe fine? We once had an Abgluth contained in a prototype specimen container at a field outpost. It was pacing the confined space, slamming itself into the walls at random intervals. I thought it was trying to escape, until a pack of Abgluths swarmed our camp, devouring a group of helpless techs. It had been signaling to its pack. We soundproofed the containers after that. +3 research per experience gain when killing a neutral unit. Nice. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff here. Like this one's pretty nice early on as well. You know, get more energy from, like, make our mineral extractors better, make our power plants better, decent things to do, make our greenhouses better. More production, but more energy upkeep. I'm not a huge fan of that early on. Shared vision would be nice. But we definitely want Admin Complex. We definitely want Whispers of Gold Rock. I'm not entirely sure how much more fighting we're going to be doing right around our cities. So this might be something we come back to. I think I will... Am I actually going to build an admin complex anytime soon? That's the other thing. I have so many other things I want to build before I get around to building this. Could just research the hero. I know I'm going to want it. We'll do shared vision. Political fallout. The sun rises on militants ambushing your scouting party as they sleep. Gunfire, smoke, blood on the tiles of what was once someone's roof. The music of the wasteland begins anew. Thankfully, your reinforcements arrive quickly, killing or driving off the attackers. The Fallen tell a strange story. Their patches aren't from the great armies, but from a pre-war security firm, Land Palmer. Why are corporate goons stalking your people? One thing is clear, another attack is imminent. Is it worth capturing and interrogating one of their soldiers, or should you simply squash them like flies and be done with it? Okay. You can investigate or get this over with. This is an optional quest thing, I guess. I think this might be new. I haven't seen this scenario before, or at least I don't remember it. We'll investigate. Okay, we did get experience.
Bloodlust is sated, but mine isn't.
So poison does kill. We do get the experience for that. And the research boost, presumably. Okay. Political. Survive invasion. I assume that we're going to have enemies starting up, so actually the shared vision might be useful on that front as well. Anyway, for now, let's attack the Dark Vessel. I already messed up. I should have started with you. Because it does the morale damage. So you're now broken. Yeah, so we do significantly more damage to it now. It also is damage, so it does less damage. And it's poison, so this is what I'm curious about here. How does the poison stacking work? Or was I mistaken? Oh, the poison is just damage that happens on the next turn, but it's not over time, beyond just the one turn, I guess. I could grab that. I could also be greedy and grab this. I think we'll just do the damage. Okay, Abgluth, you will... actually, you're going to run to the bleed, because you should heal 4 health from that. Okay, you are up. I could try to mess with you, but I'd rather not. Oh, getting a little bit of lag. I'm actually surprised it wasn't lagging before this. This game goes through periods where it just chugs for a little bit and then it figures itself out. I do have the ability. I have 80 influence. I could get 40 research, which would get me shared vision immediately. Do I want to do that? Thing is, I can research to make this cheaper and more effective, but there's an opportunity cost. I can only do this once every 5 turns. I'm not using the influence for anything else at the moment. It does cost influence to claim tiles and also influence upkeep for every tile that you have. So yeah, -2 from tiles. But I'm just going to do this. And we have this done. Midnight Chorus requires more algae. I have no algae because I have a lot of units, including this thing. Okay. So that means we're doing a fermentation vat. Because I want to be spamming out these dragoons. But that was something I considered as well, building in the wasteland. I kind of knew I was going to want more algae at some point. So I might even do a second Midnight Chorus. But I definitely do want at least 1 fermentation vat. And if we go to tech, is there something I can do with the fermentation vats? Fermentation vat is... Right. If I build greenhouse farms, my vats get better. That's That's something, I guess. I'm not going to look too far ahead. I'm just kind of seeing if there's anything else. No. And this is like so far ahead that it's not really worth considering. Okay. Ah, here's the invasion. Oh, did we just lose this thing? We might have lost our absolute. Oh no, they didn't attack this turn. Alright, unique tech. I think we're being watched. A terrifying enough phrase if you thought the Tribunal was spying on you. But in time it took on a new edge. Their gaze became something you felt in the air, but the voice's gaze, you felt it in your bones. You knew it saw right through you. You knew it was divining the perfect way that you could be broken. Yeah, so a lot of the lore, I'm not entirely sure who this narrator is. I feel like the narrator is just some normal human who's surviving. It might change depending on the tech, but most of the time it's like, this isn't our faction tech. This is somebody who's encountered our faction giving this quote. Anyway, we now do more damage to nearby enemies, which includes the invading insurgents, whatever they're called. Alright, tier 2. So we could... Right, this is what I was talking about. If we research this, we now get 60 research instead of 40 every time we use that ability. Habitation block and Hollow Theater, both essential. This gives us 6 more population room. This gives us 6 more loyalty, which is a 6% production bonus. You lose 1 loyalty for every population in your city, and you also lose 6 loyalty for every city you build, in every city. So these are important for keeping your production positive. Also, if you hit below 0 on your loyalty, it's no longer a 1% production bonus, it's a 2% production penalty per point. So you really want to stay positive. So both of those are incredibly important. Aside from that, because I do want to be spamming the Dragoons, 2 armor on all the Dragoons is just really nice. The hero, as I mentioned, this we definitely want. Masked Hymnal. Every faction has a, or every affinity, I guess, has their own tech structure that allows you to do operations on the map. And our faction in particular is particularly good at this, because we're going to be wanting to go a ton of influence for the Whispers of the Voice anyway. So I would say this is something we definitely want to get off the ground early. I tend to neglect it, but with this faction I like to get it early because it's just really nice to have. So that's a lot of stuff that we want to research. Uncommon voice items from the Concordant. It's okay. Getting the hero early is nice, but we do not have the influence because we just spent it all. That would have been the opportunity cost, I guess, why we don't do the research. This bleed cultivation also could allow us to build on bleed tiles, so we don't have to clear them. Not necessarily. No, it allows us to place bleed. It doesn't let us build on bleed. But it's still something, I guess. Out of all of these, I think Dragoon Armor, we're going to still be going Militant early on. Okay, we killed it with poison, saves us an action. Okay, we have a whole bunch of militants coming in here. Our city did do something. City could continue fighting. Ah. We have a meat harvest. So I just did an operation to get more growth here. I'm not sure that that's necessarily all that important, actually, because our population, once you have, like, I think it's around 5 housing space available, we're at 3 currently, that's where you start getting a penalty to your growth, maybe? Not yet, actually. Okay. I'm just making up numbers, clearly. The growth does go down once you get close to the limit. Maybe it was 2. Or maybe it's just that last population. I don't know. We'll see. We'll grow soon. Growing the city doesn't actually matter at the moment, though, because we don't have structures. So spending that when I did maybe wasn't actually all that important. Anyway.
Ready for the hunt.
On cooldown for a turn. We know there is another Abgluth out here. So we could go hunting for it with this unit to try to tame it. I guess part of it is these do have upkeep.
We fight as one.
I don't really want to go out and aggro these things, so I think I'll wait for these to come in closer. We will shoot you, though. So yeah, wow, 1.8. If we find a bleed tile, we get 2, but there's not really a good bleed tile. You have a lot of movement, but not enough to get down there. So you know what? Maybe we'll just rest for a turn. You are in a sandstorm. Which is fine. You can rest for a turn. You can come back this way.
I'm not dying today. Okay.
I don't actually care about this militant. If it dies, that's fine by me.
Weapons free.
So we'll put it there to try to aggro a little bit. You can run back into the bleed, you'll still heal. We want you above 25 health, so we'll just sit there for a turn. Okay. So that was 10 turns. It took me, what, 20 minutes to get through the first turn. And then we did 10. So that's going to be it for this episode. Yeah, stuff to grab down here. Abgluth over here. Hopefully I remember. Those things are probably dead. The deformities or whatever they were. Grabbing that would be nice for extra mineral income, because I do need a few minerals. I just don't want to invest in it, because I'm not doing tanks. You don't have any mineral dump for this faction, I don't believe. For voice. When I say faction, I mean voice. I don't mean specifically Furtive Tribunal. We have not met an NPC faction or another player yet, so we don't know if we got the ZEPHON neighbor start, which is what I really didn't want. But, I mean, there's enough stuff going on here, so I think that that is something else I do really like about ZEPHON, is that there's a ton of action. Basically, the whole game you're constantly fighting. The neutrals are a part of the game. They are resources. They are, you know, fighting for these locations to get a few extra little bits of resources, finding spots to build new cities. So like, it is a fairly active game, even in the early stage before you've met other people. Anyway, yeah, so that's enough for this time. We will deal with the political fallout in the next episode, I hope. I will see you then.